Hey, at dinner last night, a friend asked me a really good question. Why is Tomahawk.vc called Tomahawk? And there's really two stories to it, and I'll start with the first one, which is the official version. There's a few things that are called Tomahawk. There's a native Indian tribe that's called Tomahawk, an axe, the Tomahawk missiles, there's a cut of meat, and probably a few more things if you go and look it up on Wikipedia. For us, we asked ourselves, what is VC really about? Venture capital. What are some of the important topics? There's a range of terms that we came up with. Among them, we of course do go hunt for great companies. We want to pick the filet cuts of meat of all the companies that we see and invest in those and support those teams. But there's also a lot of experience that we want to pass on and spare our founders some battle scars. We thought that the scar was a great symbol. And so if you look at the Tomahawk logo, you'll see the red line, which is actually a very, very abstract scar that we put in our logo. And that scar stands for the experience that we as venture capitalists, as investors, as entrepreneurs ourselves pass on to the entrepreneurs and teams that we invest in. And so that's the theme of why Tomahawk is a great name for what we do. We do hunt great companies, but then at the same time, we also share battle scars and experiences with the companies that we invest in. But there's a second story, and to be honest, that story had a big influence as well. So a few years ago, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, when I was starting another company, the company's called Ribeye, I realized that very often we spend days, if not weeks, thinking about our company name. And then looking at the whole value creation that you do in a business, I do agree that having a good brand and a name that you can identify with is important, but it doesn't really generate any value at the beginning. It has very little ROI. And so being an essentialist, I ask myself, what is it that's really important right now and what is not so important at the beginning? If I'm just starting out as a young team in a new company, and I realized that spending so much time on a name just isn't that important. And so I came up with a theme for all the companies that I'm gonna name after this. Whenever I have an influence, I'm just gonna call it after a great cut of meat. I personally love steak. I don't eat meat all the time, but when I do eat meat, I like to eat a good cut of meat and enjoy it both in a social setup as well as just the taste of it. Every project from then on, if I'm the person that has to decide on the name or can decide on the name, I'm just gonna call it after a good cut of meat. So I have the ribeye, sirloin, tenderloin. Tenderloin was the predecessor for Tomahawk and now Tomahawk. So there's 4 companies already that I've named after a cut of meat. Now, of course, the project doesn't always have to remain that. Usually we just need a name for the legal entity. So in the case, for example, of Sirloin, the company is called Sirloin AG, which is the equivalent for C Corp in Switzerland. But then the project in and itself was called Zentask.io. That also gives you a bit of flexibility. And I personally really think that at the beginning, your time is better invested than thinking about the name for too long. And there you go. That's the 2 stories behind the name Tomahawk.vc. Number 1, the axe, the hunting, the good piece of meat, the filet pieces. That's why it's called Tomahawk. And then number 2, the unofficial version, but just as true version is that at the beginning, I just don't think it's that important to focus on the name, focus on creating value for your customers, for us, for our entrepreneurs. And that's why for the past 6 or 7 years, every company that I started, I named after a cut of meat. I hope this was helpful to you. As always, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Stay curious, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you like this video and you would like to do me a huge favor, then please smash that like button and subscribe. That's great for the YouTube algorithm and more people will see it. It will also make sure you will get to see all the upcoming videos on essentialism and entrepreneurship. And if there's a question or topic you would like me to cover, please let me know in the comments.